Hello, this is Ben Welsh recording live once again from Manhattan, USA. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to download and install JupyterLab Desktop. JupyterLab Desktop is a point-and-click, easy way to install what is often known as the Jupyter Notebook. What's that? You can see right here on the webpage, jupyter.org, a brief introduction. The Jupyter Notebook is, put simply, an interactive interface that makes it easier to write your code. We're gonna cover it in depth as we move through the further chapters of this class, but before we can do that, we got to get it installed and running. It is, at the end of the day, a very nice, clean, browser-based interface for writing code one line at a time, sort of documenting it as you go, and creating something that's both reproducible and remixable, but also shareable with your colleagues, your fellow reporters and editors, and maybe even your readers. It was invented by scientists who wanted to make their white papers and their academic work clearer, better, stronger, and reproducible as well. There are many different ways to install this tool, and none of them are right or wrong, but one that is very simple that we're going to use for this class is known as JupyterLab Desktop. It's effectively a self-contained version of the Python programming language, the Jupyter interface that can be put onto your computer to run inside of a sort of self-contained little program. And all it takes is a few clicks to get going, which is what makes it great for this class. So I'd like everybody to go to Google or the search engine of their choice, and I'd like them to search for Jupyter. And so that's like the planet Jupyter with the letters PY substituted in the middle because of course, it was invented by Python programmers. So that was a clever little bit they snuck in there. We're going to type in Jupyter Desktop. And that will bring up right here at the top or close to it a link to github.com, which is sort of the most popular website for publishing computer code. And you'll see there that JupyterLab Desktop has a page. We're going to visit that. If you scroll down from the top of this code repository, you'll see in the README file beneath the fold, one, a screenshot of the program that we can expect, and then beneath that yet a list of installers with instructions. Here's where we want everyone to go at this stage. Here, you'll see a variety of links that differ depending on operating system. If you're running on Windows, the first link for you is right here in the upper left. If, like me, you're on an Apple computer, you've got two options. This depends on what type of Apple computer you have. Newer Apple laptops and other machines have what are known as silicon chips or Apple chips. These are branded and sold as a M1 or M2 or M3. If your computer fits that bill, you're going to want to click this first link. If you have an older Apple computer or one that doesn't use a silicon chip, you're going to want to click this second link right there below. And if you're one of the lucky nerds that runs Linux, like I do in my spare time, I think you probably already know which link to click over here because you're just so nerdy. God bless you. So go ahead and click the link for your appropriate operating system. I've already clicked mine just to make sure I have it downloaded. That's going to put into your downloads directory, right, a file, which will be your installer. And just like any other program you've downloaded installed on your computer, you're going to double click that link. Now, depending on what operating system you have, you're going to see a little bit of different action following the double click. But my situation is one that Apple users are very familiar with, I suspect, which is that you should take the applications icon and drag and drop it into the applications folder, which will trigger an installation process. So I've done that, and we can see that now my applications folder has, alongside all the other programs like Microsoft Excel, there's one of our nerdy favorites, and our text messaging program, we have alongside all of those now JupyterLab, which exists as a program like any other. Once your installation process is finished, you're just going to want to run that program. If it's on Windows, it may have created an icon in your desktop or in your start menu. You're going to go find it in that exact same location, right? And you're going to then Click on that, which will open for the first time the JupyterLab interface. You're probably going to be asked if you're sure this is okay. Is this a secure and safe program that we should allow to be installed? And I'm going to say yes. And you should too. Now we see here for the first time the JupyterLab welcome screen, which is saying, you've got me installed. I'm booting up for the first time. Here's what I have to offer. Now, what you can see here, if you look carefully at my interface, is an issue that you yourself may run into, which is the link for a new notebook or new session is grayed out and unavailable. And at the bottom, there is a warning, right? It's saying your Python environment has not been found. So your JupyterLab program is really just an interface, a sort of frame that's intended to be built around the Python computer program, which exists deep within the core of your computer. And Jupyter's job is to make it easier to use that program, but they both have to be in place for the system to work. And so in the case of this default installer from the JupyterLab system, the bundled Python that's expected to be there alongside it has not yet been installed, which it says here, Python environment not found. That's bad news. Good news, it's got an option for us. There's a link that follows it right there that says install using the bundled installer. That's exactly what you want to do. So I'm now going to click that link, and it's going to install a Python environment. This may take a minute. While we wait, we can see on the right-hand side that this page offers us some headlines. This is news from the Python world. If you were to click those links, you would go to different blog posts explaining the most recent versions of JupyterLab and other recent updates to the system. Looks like my process is finished. We can tell because the bar at the bottom has disappeared. And now these two links here on the left for new notebook and new session are now active and available for me to click on. That's great news. That means we've successfully installed Python. The next thing we want to do is we want to move on to creating our first Jupyter notebook. To do that, we're going to click the New Notebook button right here underneath the Start option. That will then open a new Python session and create our first Jupyter Notebook interface. Here in the lower left, it's asking me if I would like to receive some emails. I'm going to pass. You should feel free to too. And now, congratulations, you've done it. You have your first Jupyter Notebook. Here before us is a very basic user interface where we're going to be able to write and run Python code. We'll do that in our next chapter. See you there.